A very good morning to one and all present here. Welcome to today's session. We have made our initial discussions on a topic called as place of supply. As part of our discussions relating to place of supply, we understood why someone need to concentrate on a topic called as place of supply. What is the importance of place of supply, topic as such, what importance place of supply holds. Followed by some of the important definitions associated with place of supply, be it principal place of business, fixed establishment, place of business, usual place of residence, address of delivery, taxable territory, non-taxable territory. We have yet to discuss about two more important definitions. Before getting into service, I'll ensure that definitions is discussed. Location of supplier of service, location of recipient of service. Before that, we'll step into section 10. As far as section 10 is concerned, it discusses about place of supply of goods other than export of goods or import of goods. If it is export of or import of goods, then place of supply will not be determined as per section 10. Place of supply will be determined as per section 11. Other than import and export of goods, it will be determined under 10. The first type of, or the first ingredient that was considered was, if a supply involves movement of goods. If a supply involves movement of goods, either by supplier or by recipient or by any other person, place of supply will be the place where the movement terminates for delivery. We have very elaborately have discussed what do we mean by delivery, what is the difference between an actual delivery and a constructive delivery, and the issues associated with why it has to be read as constructive delivery. Otherwise, the whole GST mechanism would fail when we conjoint read this topic with nature of supply and levy. Along with, of course, no doubt, input tax credit. Nature of supply, levy and input tax credit only will club us. The somehow intention of the lawmaker, intention of this person is not actual delivery, it is also constructive delivery. Few of you raised your apprehension. From an exam perspective, what should I do? I'm more bothered about exams than anything else in the world. Correct? As a student, always we are bothered about exam. From an exam perspective, see, I don't foresee first of all, I don't foresee a question where a X factory price would be asked. And X factory price with different state, they should ask. Let me repeat it. Supplier in Tamil Nadu, recipient in Tamil Nadu, goods are delivered in X factory. Absolutely, you have no issues. Supplier in Tamil Nadu, recipient in Andhra Pradesh, goods are delivered at X factory. Yes, you would no doubt come out and say X factory, the place where the goods are delivered is place of supply. So, place of supply is Tamil Nadu, location of supplier, place of supply is same state. So, intra-state supply. Hence, as per section 9, this would be my levy, 9 of CGST Act. Alternatively, okay, you have to write another solution also. My recommendation is, because these are all open questions. And I don't expect this question, if at all, pitches in exam for not less than 6 marks or 7 marks. It's a pure case study question, because somebody should be aware of first place of supply. Somebody should be aware of nature of supply. Somebody should be aware of levy, and input tax credit. Not less than 4 topics has to be read in conjoint or to be read in tandem together to arrive this issue or a solution to this issue. So I don't expect a pass-through question on this topic, a question which we have discussed. Otherwise, that little elaborated discussion of 20 minutes is not required, or 20 minutes more than that. In fact, some of you felt, I know, do I need to know so much in detail? See, think only that 6 mark a case study question or a scenario question. Case studies questions or that too at a final level are all not out of the box case study. On the go, connected chapters are tested together. So coming back here, keep that in mind. That is only the alternate solution which has been available, alternate model, alternate thought process. Instead of debating with the word actual delivery, if we look at it constructive delivery, I think I've also shared you the reason. If you look at constructive delivery only, what will happen? That goods not act, though it has been given at X factory, the supplier moves the goods. Place of supply is the movement terminates for delivery. So the intention of the place of supply is more on the movement, not on the actual delivery, as per which is always looked as per the Sale of Goods Act. So because of that reason, the location of recipient, Andhra Pradesh, should be considered as place of supply. So now look at it, location of supplier Tamil Nadu in our original example. This morning we discussed. Place of supply Andhra Pradesh, both of them are going to be different state. When it is different state, interstate supply. If it is interstate supply, section 5 of IGST Act will come into play. And the recipient is also eligible for input tax credit. In one model, my mechanism would fail. In another model, my mechanism would win. Among these two models, which one has to be opted? Courts has to decide. So if at all a question comes for 6 marks, we don't have a precedent till now, comes for 6 months, be prepared for it. Moving forward from the first limb of different types of place of supply for goods, on moving forward from first limb, getting into the next model, a bill to ship to model, where goods are instructed by one company and goods are delivered to another company by a supplier. As a supplier, I will bill one person, deliver the goods to another person. Initially understand all these 3 persons are different persons. Do in business, we will have things like this. Yes, we will have things like this. In business, very common. I would give the responsibility of a complete procurement to a third person. I would say him, I want goods at my stores. Wherever you know where to order, you know what is my quality, everything. You are my procurement in charge for my company as a whole. So you do procurement. So the complete procurement will happen from here. In those circumstances, government is very clear. In case of all these transactions, where there are going to be 3 people, supplier who is going to supply the goods, but he will bill a person and deliver the goods at another person. A very interesting question will come. To whom he will bill? The fellow who gave instruction. To whom he will deliver? The fellow who gave instruction will instruct where it has to be delivered. Goods are delivered by the supplier to the recipient or to any other person on the directions or instructions of a third person. Then it will be deemed, section makes a deeming fiction, it will be deemed the said third person has received the goods. First, a deeming fiction is created in the law itself. The moment when I raise bill to you and deliver to some of your instructions, you told deliver to your friend, somebody who's located in Bangalore, Karnataka. I would go and deliver to him, but I'll bill you only. if you look at the invoice level, at a transaction level, invoice level, supplier will have two addresses, two different person with in fact two different GST numbers sometimes. Rarely they will also give the person to whom delivery happens because his name has to be mentioned and some electronic waybill has to be generated. There is a document called as e-waybill for movement of goods. That e-waybill has to be generated. For those purposes, that information will also be captured. Yes, no doubt. That would also be, in that circumstance, the principal place of business of the third person would become place of supply. Now, indirectly, what happens here? Look at it from again conjoint learning. Don't isolately read this topic. A supplier in Andhra Pradesh, supply goods to a third person. Supply goods to one person as per the instructions of a third person. The third person is located in Andhra Pradesh. Supplier is also located in Andhra Pradesh, but where the supplier went and delivered the goods, that person is located in Tamil Nadu. There is a possibility? Possible. Who told it is not possible? Definitely possible. Supplier A Limited delivers the goods in Tamil Nadu to B Limited. Movement of goods is from A Limited office to B Limited. E-waybill will be generated from A Limited office to B Limited. A Limited in Andhra Pradesh, supplier B Limited in Tamil Nadu. But very interesting to know how A Limited know B Limited means. C Limited instructed A Limited to go and deliver the goods there. Then automatically C Limited becomes the third person. C Limited is located in Andhra Pradesh. So place of supply will be this section makes a deeming fiction that C Limited who instructed A Limited to deliver the goods to B Limited, that C Limited has received the goods and place of supply will be the principal place of business of C Limited, which is Andhra Pradesh. Look out the transaction here. A Limited to B Limited. There is a movement of goods. That movement of goods also moves from one state to another. There is an interstate movement of goods, but you will come and close the transaction as a intrastate supply or an interstate supply. In the transaction that we referred, A Limited as supplier, go and deliver the goods to B Limited in Tamil Nadu as per the instructions of C Limited in Andhra Pradesh. Here, place of supply will be quick. Place of supply, more than the place of supply. Nature of supply will be quick. Place of supply and nature of supply will be quick. If 5 of them virtually can answer, all of us can answer. Let me repeat. Vivekanandan, check your understanding. Quick. Whomever answered till now are right. Quick. That's all. Hello. Third person place is Andhra Pradesh. Hey, you are not following the question. A Limited, supplier in Andhra Pradesh. B Limited, the person to whom goods are delivered in Tamil Nadu. C Limited, the person who has instructed A Limited to deliver the goods at B Limited office, that C Limited is located in Andhra Pradesh. Place of supply, nature of supply. That's all. POS and NOS. Place of supply and nature of supply. Quick, 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 quick. Place of supply, nature of supply. Place of supply is Andhra Pradesh. Nature of supply will be intra-state supply. Okay, all of you mentioned here. I have mentioned it correctly. Nature of supply will be Shweta. Check your answer. Shweta Manivan. Check your answer. Coming back here, getting into today's discussion. And one more important question, maybe over there. Third person. Is this third person has to be a altogether different person, or even a distinct person would be considered as a third person, will be an open-ended question. Okay. Till now we have never received we have an exam question for this to test a precedent. Nothing. So, moving forward. Where there is a supply of goods, but that supply of goods does not involve movement either by the supplier or by the receiver. There is a supply of goods, but that supply of goods will not involve movement. Is it possible, first of all? Yes. Sometimes, exceptionally, not a regular transaction, exceptionally, they will supply the goods, but that supply of goods will happen without movement. I'm sure as part of accounting discussions, you would have come across certain topics called as hire purchase or finance lease, operating lease. Okay, three words: hire purchase, finance lease, operating lease. Can some of you raise your hand and share your views on this? I don't want you to type. It will take a very your wish, your views. I would not step in, not my area of topic. What you say, that would be the final. But again, I have my own questions to raise, which I read 10 years before, not now. For my exam, I read for in sometime in 2009. After that, I never read AS19 at all. If my memory serves me right, Ind AS per number also I don't know when it comes to lease. Ind AS only one standard I know, which is Ind AS 103 business connection. Okay, that's because of the need of GST that Ind AS is read. Okay, good. Yes, quick. Anybody? HP versus operating lease versus finance lease. Your views. Quick. Yes. If you raise your hand, I can unmute yourself. Quick. HP versus operating lease versus finance lease. Don't say me, we have never heard this word at all. Okay. And came to the next level. Okay. If you came to the next level, there are some deeming fictions happen. Okay. That you read everything, you know everything. Okay. At earlier level. Quick. Yes. Somebody. Hello. Excuse me. அதான் டஃப்பாக கேட்டேன்னா நான் கேட்டது ரொம்ப சிம்பிள். hire purchase versus your finance lease versus operating lease. What is the difference? Without discussing this difference, some important aspect of this topic cannot be touched. Ignoring this, we can discuss it, but it will be a very basic level discussion. Yes, 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 speak. Anybody? No one? Yes, Balaji. Good, good for the start. Yes, Balaji. You can unmute yourself, no?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, HP hire purchase ownership is transfer only after you pay all the installments,
Agree.
right? And operating lease is not kind of transfer. So you just use the assets like a rental type,
Correct.
right? And finance lease, I have a doubt, but I will try. You have option to buy asset at end of the period. Once you complete the period, you can have option to buy asset.
Correct. That's all. That was out only expected here. Now, the whole idea here is in terms of the ownership of the asset is the larger difference it has been made over here. When it comes to the ownership of the asset, in an operating lease, nobody has the ownership of the asset. Sorry, not nobody. Lessee does not have the ownership of the asset. The lessor has the ownership of an asset. In a finance lease, though a periodical payment is made at the end of the lease period, end of the lease period, an option to buy would be given when it comes to finance lease. And when it comes to your hire purchase, automatically once that last EMI is paid, automatic transfer of name at a future date. In fact, now with this understanding, connect to your schedule 2 of discussion relating to whether a particular transaction would be considered as a supply of goods or supply of service. Para 1, which talks about transfer of goods. On that, sublim 3 would come out and say A, B, C, 1C would come out and say automatic transfer of title at a future date is a supply of goods. Now, we are not going to discuss about a hire purchase here because it is going to be a automatic transfer. Once EMI is paid, automatically title is transferred. But we are going to discuss largely about operating lease and finance lease related final level execution of transaction. Let's take for a minute. There was a company. That company has taken a machinery on lease. There is a company. That company has purchased a server on lease. Sir, do companies purchase server on lease? Yes. Because 1.5 crore investment is a server. No company is interested to own one. I'll say you challenge. I am not sure how the business is going to be. Instead, today I have a need, so I will procure one, keep it in my floor. I will use it. For usage, I will pay 666666666 lakhs periodically. Now, this fellow has been paying 666 lakhs for the last 3-4 years. End of 4th year, the leasing company gives an option. Our lease comes to an end. You have 2 options. Either buy the asset for 25 lakhs after paying, take the asset after paying 25 lakhs. Option 2, leave the asset, we will take away, we will sell to somebody else. If a lessee opt option 1, just understand, already the asset is with the lessee. There will not be any movement of goods either by the lessor or by the lessee. So the whole discussion involves only those exceptional transactions. A very simple discussion for this could be there is a godown. In that godown, there are some goods. I will question the transaction very fundamentally. You have a godown, and if you have a goods in that godown, are you not supposed to maintain a GST registration for that godown? That's the earlier level understanding. Okay. At an earlier level, we have to say like that only. But understand the impact of the transaction could be a finance lease, park finance lease, operating lease. R Limited has supplied the machine to S Limited for right to use basis. You use the machine for your production process. S Limited is keep on using the machine. R Limited is in Andhra Pradesh. S Limited is in Karnataka. S Limited is keep on using the machine. Monthly, S Limited will pay one lease charges, operating lease charges. No, ownership is with still what? R Limited. Depreciation will be claimed what? R Limited. All R Limited. Then what S Limited is going to do, sir? Just use the machine. One point in time, R Limited calls S Limited and says, sir, we have enough used this machine. We don't want this machine. If you are interested, you take this machine, give us 10 lakhs. S Limited thought, nice opportunity. If I'm going to remove all this cost of transportation, cost of changing the machine itself will take 2 lakhs. Another 8 lakhs extra only. We will pay that 10 lakhs. We will get the machine. Now look at it. R Limited, who is the supplier, located in Andhra Pradesh, supply a goods to S Limited, who is in Karnataka. This S Limited, for the sale of transaction, is the goods are going to be moved? The answer would be no. When the goods does not involve movement. We'll ask a very particular question. How goods will not involve movement? We have to understand hire purchase. Than hire purchase, we have to understand operating and finance lease. Those transactions are the real transactions that would happen here. Having a godown, in that godown there will be goods, that's and all is humbug transaction. Okay? Never it will happen in real time situations. The third leg of transaction, I am not sure how many of you all come across a word like this. As is, where is, as is, basis. A supply of goods, as it, one minute just. I'm not sure how many of you all experienced a supply like this. As it, where is, basis. There is a little modification of this. As is, as it, where is, as it, basis, they will say. As it, where is, basis itself will say sale on lock, stock and barrel. Okay. Which is called as lock, stock, barrel basis. Okay. In a little layman language. But you have a modified version of it. As it where is, as is basis. Sir, what is this? This is a clear legal terminology supply where take a situation, it's a software company. I'm not sure when we have an experience to interact with some of the software companies, they will get a shell from the builder, okay, or the leased property person. From the shell, everything will be their construction. What do we mean by shell, sir? Maybe a basically plastered wall would be a shell to them. Why? Because they want false roofing, they want elevated flooring. They don't want a regular flooring because below the flooring, wires has to go. For all the systems, wires has to go below the flooring. So it will be elevated flooring. And again, to avoid unnecessary and for the purpose of cleaning, they would be wanting a very specific kind of synthetic based flooring. So not a regular flooring, synthetic matte based flooring they would be wanting it. And to bring color combination X, Y, Z, many aspects are there. Crux of our discussion, the core aspects associated with it. They did all this. They purchased a server, installed a server, conference room was there, projector, this, that, blah, 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 TV, all was there. 50 systems was there. 10 laptops was there in the senior executive rooms. All was there. Started the company, run the company for 3 years. After 3 years, the direction, vision of the organization changed or deviated. They were not successful in doing that business, which resulted in they have to quit the organization. Okay. So one fine day came where they have to sell it. There is another software company which is growing and coming. That software company told, are you going to sell all that assets? Yes. We will do one thing. We will go verify all that. We'll come up with a common price. They went and saw one system, mouse is not there, one system, keyboard is broken, one system, this is not there, server, some work is required, projector, some maintenance is required, television, corner is broken. So all they saw came up and told, we will give you 35 lakhs. Give all the assets and go away on asset where is basis. In fact, in asset various basis, at least the assets quality has to be at a particular standard. When it comes to asset various assets basis, with that broken itself, broken without maintenance and broken level itself, I am selling it to you. Now, in case of asset various assets basis and all are your real time examples of where goods will not be moved at all. As it is, this company people will go, again a new set of company people will come, change the ownership agreement of change the lease agreement with the immovable property with the owner of the immovable property, and now occupy your place. All the assets of X limited now becomes to Y limited. So the intention and the point that I want to drive here is these are all your real examples of goods does not involve movement. So there are transactions where goods does not involve movement. Just to appreciate that point, KPR Limited, which is KPR Limited, who is engaged in software services, who's engaged in software services, sold their assets located in a rented property to Axis Bank Limited, Karnataka, who is the new lessee to the immovable property on what is the place of KPR Limited, a company which is located in TN, who is engaged in software services, sold their assets located in a rental property in Tamil Nadu for rupees 25 lakhs to Axis Bank Limited, Karnataka, who is going to be the new lessee to that immovable property on the basis of as it is basis. What is the place of supply and nature of supply? Quick. What is going to be your place of supply and nature of supply? Quick. Place of supply and nature of supply. So KPR Limited, a software company in Tamil Nadu, has taken a property on lease, invested on the property, renovated the property, procured various assets, fitted everything, and was running its business. A day came, they want to wind up that property, vacate that property, and go to a larger space. Larger space, new assets, new requirements would be always people's intention. Shweta Manivannan, check NOS. Check NOS. New place, new requirements would be the point. This is all already used for 4 or 5 years. So thought somebody. Another company now only comes in, they don't want to fit in new assets. Let's try how things goes. So they are interested in buying it. That is the background. Vaishnavi, your answer can have only one word extra, but for it, it is true and correct. As the goods does not involve movement. That one word is the key term. Under this situation, as the goods does not involve movement. That one word is there, it's a complete answer. It's a real complete answer. Deepak, check your answer. Vivekanandan. விவேகானந்தன் ஒரு நிமிஷம் நீங்க யோசிங்க. பிஓஎஸ் தமிழ்நாடுன்னு போட்டுட்டு இன்டர் ஸ்டேட் சப்ளைன்னு எழுதினா என்ன அர்த்தம் விவேகானந்தன்? We are on the 8th problem or 9th problem on place of supply. I'm sharing it out of my memory. If I'm not wrong, we are on the 8th or 9th problem of it. After 9 full practical problems, if we come back again, don't know what to do. Whomever answered, all are right. So maybe you can have one word attached to your answer when you practically write. That one key term will be as the goods does not involve movement. That's the key term for you to push into 10C, 10.1C. Why I have to refer to 10.1C? Goods does not involve movement. Moving forward. When supply of goods is needing, or there is a need after supply of goods, that the goods need to be assembled or installed. In fact, after assembling and installation, only the goods come to its completeness. Preferably goods sent on CKD or SKD basis, completely knocked down condition or semi knocked down condition. CKD, completely knocked down condition. SKD, semi knocked down condition. If goods are supplied on CKD or SKD, place of supply shall be the place where the goods are installed or assembled. The place where the goods are installed or assembled. So I supply a goods, that goods should involve assembling or an installation. So 4-5 items goes from here. Once it reaches the other person factory, we have to unload that 4-5 item, put it in one order, 4 first, 2 second, third, and first last. Okay, in one order. That order I only know. Okay, if you put 1, 2, 3, 4, it will not work. If you put 4, 3, 2, 1, it will not work. You should put 4, 2, 3, 1. Then only it will work. So because it has to put in this way, only it will work. I still get one more money towards assembling of this, which is a separate money under the same contract, 5,000 rupees. So my work completes when I go to that location and install it or assemble it. So coming back here, when there is a supply of goods which involves assembling or installation, place of supply will be the place where the goods are assembled or installed. What is going to be the place where the goods are going to be installed? What is going to be the place where the goods are going to be assembled? That would become place of supply. A person supplied a tank. You saw in the image, no? One small tank. Okay. This one, the tank. Supplied this tank, which is submerged inside the land. This tank only stores crude oil. Okay. Once it is imported, it will be put in this crude oil, in this tank only. Through a pump, it is later pumped for the purpose of whole processing. Sir, where I can see this tank, it will not be available outside. It will be submerged inside the land. So this tank will go about 9 feet below the ground level. Put some foundations and all so that the tank does not move. Construct around some pipes, all that and all. Put it flat corner. Above the land, nothing. Below the land, you will have the tank. Is it a supply of goods? you call it as still the goods are assembled or installed? A very careful question. A tank which is submerged inside the land, is it can be called as supply of tank which is submerged inside the land is a supply of goods or a supply of service? I'm not getting into place of supply question itself. I'm still on some other question. It's a supply of goods or a supply of service. Quick, 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 quick. SOG, SOS. Quick, 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 quick. SOG. பாருங்க, கடவுள் இருக்காரா இல்லையான்னு கேட்டா இருக்குன்னு சொல்லணும், இல்ல இல்லைன்னு சொல்லணும். ஓகேவா? இருந்தா நல்லா இருக்கும்லாம் சொல்லவே கூடாது. சாய் சுப்பிரமணியம் சார், சாரி, போத்தே கிடையாது. எய்தர் எஸ்ஓஜி ஆர் எஸ்ஓஎஸ், ஏதாவது ஒண்ணுதான். அப்பதான் ரேட்டு சொல்ல முடியும். போத்துனீங்கன்னா எங்க ரேட் இருக்கு? போத்துக்கு ரேட்டே கிடையாது. ஓகே, நோ கமலஹாசன் லாங்குவேஜ், வெரி கிளியர். Either SOG or SOS. That's all. A lot of you are of the understanding it is a supply of goods. I'll ask one fundamental question. Can you take that tank very easily from the ground? All of us have experienced by passing through a fuel station, and from the fuel station maybe a few liters of fuel is pumped in to your motor vehicle tank. I'm sure you all will agree with me. When that fueling pump pumps the fuel, no doubt the fuel is stored below the land. Yes or no? When the fuel is stored below the land, will it be stored inside a tank or it will be stored in a cement tank? When we go and analyze, as it is highly explosive, it will be stored inside a tank. Below the land, inside the stand, inside the land, you store it, you submerge it. In fact, you put it below. Question before you is it movable in nature or immovable in nature? Answer me this. Henceforth in life, at once reaching this final level, every time when you get a question on assembling an installation, fundamentally you will ask, after assembling, after installation, is it movable or immovable? In my example of submerging a tank inside a petroleum refinery for storing crude oil, a tank of that size, getting into 9 feet ground below, putting up a base foundation, putting up a support structure, keeping a tank of that size is movable, immovable? Answer, 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 answer. Sai Subramaniam alone answer. Quick, quick, quick. Movable, immovable. Right. All of you are all convinced it is immovable. Goods means, stop here. Goods means it is movable or immovable. Goods means it is movable or immovable. Now the transaction that I referred, go back to the transaction that I have originally referred. You have a, see, this is one understanding. At final level, this understanding should be always in the mind. Let me repeat it. This is a clear understanding that we have to make. Now answer me. Supply of tank which is submerged inside the land is a supply of goods or a supply of services? Sir, how it will come as service, sir? Works contract service. When something is immovable in nature, is it a SOG or SOS, sir? Next time, never underestimate the question. Let me repeat it. The moment you see assembling, the moment you see installation, bulb should glow. After installation, ask this question. After installation, after assembly, it is still movable in nature. If your answer is yes, it is still movable in nature, then it becomes goods. No, no, no. After installation, after assembly, after erection, after commissioning, it becomes immovable in nature. Let me repeat. Erection, commissioning are strong words. Erection itself, you will never say a machinery is erected. You would say only a plant is erected. Rarely machineries are erected. But generally you will say machinery is assembled, which gives a clue by itself that it is little movable in nature. You will never say AC is erected. You would say only what? AC is installed. Movable in nature. You would never say workstation was erected. Workstation is installed. So installation, assembling, word itself is a little clue that after assembly, after installation, it is movable in nature. But you can't go by that word. You have to go by the transaction. In this transaction, the tank which is submerged inside is immovable in nature. First of all, it is not a supply of goods. When it is not a supply of goods, how I can refer section 10? Can we able to appreciate this discussion? No. Then when 10(1)D will be applicable? I supply an air conditioner. That air conditioner need to be installed. Now, I want all of you to participate. If it is going to be a supply of air conditioner and installation of air conditioner, supply and installation of air conditioner, okay, which is going to be supply of goods or supply of service. It is going to be what? Supply of goods or supply of service? இந்த பல்பு எல்லா டாபிக்கு எரிஞ்சுனே இருக்கணும். எங்கேயுமே பல்பு லைட்டா குறையவே கூடாது. நான் எப்பயே சொல்லிட்டேன். இன்ஸ்டாலேஷன், அசம்பிளி, எரெக்ஷன், கமிஷனிங், கன்ஸ்ட்ரக்ஷன், பில்டிங், புட்டிங் அப், ஃபிட்டிங் அவுட், வேர்ட்ஸ் லைக் திஸ் கம் சப்ளை ஆஃப் சர்வீஸ். விவேகானந்தன் கஷ்டம் கிடையாது. விவேகானந்தன் supply of goods, it's movable in nature. Whenever you come across this word, that bulb should glow. After assembly, what will happen? After installation, what will happen? After erection, what will happen? After commissioning, what will happen? After construction, what will happen? After fitting out, what will happen? Ask this question. After assembly, after installation, after erection, after fitting out, it is movable in nature. SOG. Close it. After installation, after fitting out, after assembly, immovable in nature. SOS. Sir, how SOS, sir? Installation, commissioning, fitting out, erection, repair, maintenance of where there is a transfer of property in goods involved of an immovable property. Section 219 defines the term works contract. Read through that. That will give you lead. This is cross-referencing. Consciously, if I ask a tank which is submerged inside, you should say section 10 is not applicable. Determine as per 12 because it's a supply of services. Now we are talking of an ordinary lathe machine, simple machine, welding machine, which is installed, just installed in the factory. The place where it is installed, that would become place of supply. Sir, if it is a windmill erected, English a windmill erected, just like that and all, we cannot move the windmill. No doubt it would go and get attached itself as a works contract activity. So those are the fundamental difference in the discussion. Let's appreciate and enjoy the differences. In case of assembling, in case of installation, the place where it is installed, that would become place of supply. At final level, that distinction should be appreciated. See, let me repeat it. If you carefully note, for every transaction, I am giving you variance. At your level understanding. Those are the understanding. You are reading it from the same slide, same understanding. This understanding will not be discussed at your earlier level. Delivery, third person. Here, when it comes to the real transactions of movement of goods, does not involve movement of goods by both people. Supplier also will not move, recipient also will not move. Again, 10(1)(d), goods. First of all, it should be a goods. After the assembly, it should be a goods. After the installation, it should be a goods. If it loses the characteristics of being goods, sir, when I supplied it as 3 wings, 3 stem, 1 center commissioning device, and 2 commissioning parts. What I am supplying? Windmill or parts of windmill? Parts of windmill. Next question. Am I responsible for installation? Yes, I am responsible for installation of that windmill. I take it to down south Tirunelveli and install it in the Tirunelveli, where installation is my responsibility. Next question. After installation, is it movable? Yes, sir. If I remove some 18 bolt and nut, it is movable. To remove that 18 bolt and nut which has been studded around, first I should remove the wings. Next, I should remove the commissioning center part. Then I should remove the first part of the stem, second part of the stem, and then come to the third part of the stem. Then below earth, a base foundation and all that structure. I'm sorry, that's a pakka example of an immovable property. Then you are not supplying immovable property. You are assembling something. After assembling, it becomes immovable in nature. Let me repeat it. A problem that comes up here. Sir, am I supplying an immovable property? No, you are supplying a goods, but after its assembling, it becomes immovable in nature. That is why it is called as a works contract service. You are not supplying. Nobody can supply immovable property. Okay. So make yourself comfortable. So then end of the day, is it not a sale of windmills? Sir? No, it's not a sale of windmill. It is a erection, commissioning, installation of a windmill along with its supply of parts. So it's a clear works contract which will be covered by supply of services. Coming back here, getting into this discussion further, 10(1)(d), goods, where goods involve all those assembling and installation. We are talking of not larger transactions like what we referred. We are talking of one TV is installed, one fridge is installed, one maybe a projector is installed, which are all movable in nature. The place where it is installed, that would become place of supply. Only point should strike to us is after installation, it should be movable in nature. Then only this section is applicable. Else, this section is not applicable. It has to be determined as works contract service under section 12. Can we move forward? All those goods taken on board, and sold in a conveyance. All those goods taken on board and sold in a conveyance, moving conveyance. Place of supply will be the place where the goods are taken on board. It could be a water bottle, it could be a biscuit packet, it could be a Tetra Pak drink, It could be all those other kind of edible items which are sold inside a train. The place where the goods are taken on board, that would become place of supply. It could be a tetra pack of aerated drink. It could be a roasted cashew which is being served on a small tin container, or it could be all those cookies that are boxed in a small unit container. All this sold inside an aircraft. Yes, no doubt it is a supply of goods, but place of supply, that all this is sold where? When the aircraft is at 33,000 feet. At 33,000 feet, it is now progressing to Delhi. And when it was crossing Hyderabad, at that time only it was sold to me, sir. Sir, it originates from Chennai. So from Chennai to Delhi aircraft. So, sir, how do you know Hyderabad, sir? The captain announced we are now crossing. We are cruising. He did not use the word crossing. We are cruising at 33,000 feet at 810 kilometers per hour. And just now, we have crossed Hyderabad. At that time only, that crew member have served me that nice cookies, sir. So, place of supply is Hyderabad. Nothing doing. Where that item is taken on board, that would become place of supply. Where you supply it is not important. Where it is taken into the conveyance is important. Not a great understanding, not a great entry. To my mind, 1, 2, 3, 4 are the most crucial terms. Make yourself comfortable on the 4. Fifth one, only applicable for supply of goods inside a train. Sir, if we serve a full thali, what will happen, sir? You say me. If we serve a full thali, what is the place of supply? It's a thali meals, North Indian thali. It's a full meal served. What is your place of supply? Quick. Place of supply is what? If it is served inside the train. Hello? Come on. Yes. Go on, answer quick. What is the place of supply? Ask a fundamental question. Is it a supply of goods or a supply of service? Ask a fundamental question. When a full thali meal is served, is it a supply of goods or a supply of service? Then we are talking of here what? Supply of goods. So this is a full thali meal and all supply of services. So my humble submission, kindly make a note. This will not be covered here. Sir, thali meals, then it cannot be determined. Come on, not covered here, which means what? Covered by some other section. Because it's a supply of service, 12, not 10 is applicable. Done? Yes. So we'll do one thing. These 5 entries are the main entry. We'll revisit it once again. When supply involves movement, the place where the movement terminates, that is going to be place of supply. When supply does not involve movement, the place where the goods are available at the time of delivery, that would become place of supply. In case of bill to ship to transaction, the location where it is billed, principal place of business of the person to whom it is billed, that will become place of supply. In case of assembling or installation of goods, the place where the assembling after installation, the place where the asset is installed or assembled, that would become place of supply. In case goods taken on onboard conveyance, the place where the goods are taken on board, goods. The place where the goods are taken on board, that would become place of supply. So if a goods is taken on board in Kerala, it can be sold when the train is crossing maybe Tamil Nadu, train is crossing Andhra Pradesh, train is crossing Odisha, train is crossing Gujarat. Place of supply for the transaction is Kerala. Why, sir? There only it stored all the all the goods. Where it is taken on board, that would become place of supply. Yes. Sir, if in case place of supply cannot be determined in by all these 5 sections, don't be bothered. The council will come and prescribe a manner. As of now, council is not prescribed any manner. You have to determine place of supply only under this 5 methods. So we'll do one thing. At this level, we'll break for 5 minutes consciously, 5-10 minutes maximum. 5 minutes we'll break. If you want a 10 minutes break, we will break for 10 minutes, and then we will rejoin for place of supply or place of supply for services. Thank you. Welcome back. Section 12 of IGST Act comes out and highlights to us determination of place of supply, where location of supplier and location of recipient of service is in India. Determination of place of supply of service, where location of supplier and location of service, location of supplier and location of recipient of service is in India. Kindly make a note. Section 12, subsection 1 comes out and discuss or highlights something. That is what is the section heading also. If you want to determine place of supply of services, when the location of supplier and location of recipient of service is in India, generally 2 people are required for supply of service and recipient of service. These 2 people. If these 2 people are in India, then only section 12 is applicable. Sir, R Limited supplier in India. Yes, Inc. is in USA. Sorry, section 12 not applicable. Sir, Q Inc. USA supplier. Yes Limited India recipients. Again, section 12 is not applicable. Sir, transaction happens between Q Inc. USA and RPTE Limited Singapore. Section 12 is not applicable. Section 12 will solely apply if A Limited Tamil Nadu transact with S Limited Madhya Pradesh. So, a very clear understanding. If location of supplier and location of recipient, both of them are in India, then section 12. Else, sir, else 13 only. Else 13 only. Straight away. If this condition is not satisfied, you go to 13. By reading the question, by reading the location of supplier, where the supplier is located, where the recipient is located, you should be in a position to come into a conclusion that this is a transaction covered by 12, this is a transaction covered by 13. Having said 12 is applicable, how we need to move forward? Place of supply of service. Generally, other than services covered by section 3 to subsection 14, other than services covered by subsection 3 to subsection 14 of section 12 of IGST. Under section 12, we have 14 subclauses. If a service is covered by section 3 to subsection 14, then place of supply will be determined as per that specific head only. If for a service 3 to 14 is not applicable, then place of supply will be determined generally. Understand the method in which we have to approach. First test, whether both supplier and recipient are in India. Yes, we received that test. Both are in India, covered by 12. Second test, whether the service is covered by the specified list or covered under general entry. Sir, how do I know whether something is covered by specified or not? If any services covered by subsection 3 to subsection 14. What are those services? Could be renting of immovable property services, certain notified or specified services by government, training and performance appraisal services, admission to event, organizing of event, transportation of goods service, transportation of passengers service, onboard conveyance, telecommunication services, banking and other financial services, insurance services, last but not your least entry, which is going to be advertisement services provided to government. Not all advertisement services to government and local authority, central government, state government and local authority. In case of these identified entries, okay, in case of these identified entries, kindly refer specific section. Sir, my service is transporting passengers from Chennai to Delhi through aircraft. For you, a specific entry is available. Sir, my service is transporting goods from Maharashtra to Andhra Pradesh through lorry. Transportation of goods service. Sir, my service is providing stock broking services. Refer banking and other financial services. Sir, we only take risk and do indemnify risk. Then you are into the business of insurance, separate entities. Sir, I do a business consulting. How to structure business, how to do business. I will share. How to do business. If you ask, I will share how to do business. It's an art. It's an art by itself. We will share you how to do business. Not covered by any of these specific entities. No, training and performance. No, that's just training somebody and evaluating somebody. Evaluating somebody's performance. It's not one way, it's a two-way communication. They train people and then later date they evaluate people. In case of training and performance appraisal, you have that. This is a one way. You come, I will consult, I will go back. Chart accountancy services, cost accountancy services, company secretary services, technical professional services, technical study, engineering, detailed engineering, basic engineering, detailed study on engineering activities. All these services, whatever I mentioned, all are not covered. Business consulting, chart accountancy, cost accountancy, company secretary, or any of the other courses, not covered. All these are all not covered. So where it is not covered, so it's not covered under your heads. That intention is that's all. In case of your transactions, place of supply of services, If it is covered by the specified entry, refer specific section. else general section is applicable. Assuming general section is applicable to you, then location of the registered person being a recipient, that will become place of supply. Recipient, location of registered person being a recipient, that would become place of supply. Sir, recipient address and all is not available. If registered person who is a registered recipient address is not available, then if the person is not registered, then whatever address he has given, address on record, that will become place of supply. Sir, I don't know my recipient itself, then location of supplier will become place of supply. Sir, what you are trying to say? Generally, in a general entry, location of recipient is place of supply. If location of recipient is going to be a registered person, then recipient being a registered person, then location of such registered person is become place of supply. Sir, if recipient is an unregistered person, then the address on record of the recipient would become place of supply. If information itself is not available, then only we will go to the general entry. First, you will not apply general entry. First, you will make a test whether section 12 is applicable. Next, we will make a test, is it covered by the specified entry? Let me repeat, it's a common interpretation, and this interpretation which you're going to learn now is applicable throughout the GST law, specific versus general. Whenever you have an issue, there is a specific head, there is a general head. Which head I should use? Always specific will prevail over general. You can understand this as a rule 3B of classification of goods, classification of services, learning, general interpretative rules, learning. Or you can also understanding as a specific versus general. Wherever it has to be a little more specific discussion. Coming back here. When you have a specific entry, when you have a general entry, a specific entry has to be picked up rather than the general entry. 12.2. 12.2 is a general entry. If again, it's very clearly says, when supply of service is not covered by 3 to 14. Subsection 3 to subsection 14, if it does not cover, then only subsection 2 will operate. So coming back here, when I can go for the general entry, when I am not covered by the specific entry. So a small run through of the specific entry once again, though we will go in detail individually. Immovable property based services, performance based services, or otherwise called as notified services, training and performance appraisal of a service, admission to event, organizing of event, transportation of goods, transportation of passengers, onboard conveyance, telecom, banking and financial services, insurance services, and advertisement services to government. If any service is covered by those specified heads, we have to refer only that specific heading, else only we will come to general heading. Now, among these specified list, among the specified list, to start with, first discussion, immovable property based services. When any services directly related to immovable property, a coined term, a very careful term. Any services directly related to immovable property, construction of a building, works contract of a building, renting of a building, leasing of a building, licensing of a building, providing hotel accommodation services, providing lodging services, providing guest house services, all are immovable property based services. In case any services directly related to immovable property, the location of such immovable property is going to be place of supply of service. The place of supply of service is going to be the place where the immovable property is located. Sir, is it only services directly like this, or even professional services also should be directly covered here? Professional services also. Architect, interior decorator, or it is going to be surveyors, engineers, other experts, including real estate agents. So if you carefully note here, all these services are directly related to immovable property. The place where the immovable property is located, that would become place of supply. What is the speciality of this index? Nothing, no speciality. Any service, you come across an architect service, you come across an engineer service, you come across a licensed surveyor service. The place where the immovable property is located, that would become place of supply. Followed by, in case of certain notified services. What do we mean by notified service or specified service? Government comes out and specify. In case of restaurant and outdoor catering, personal grooming services, how to talk, how to walk, how to talk and walk, how to stand, laugh, smile, all this. Followed by, see, those days grandfather, grandmother used to teach. Nowadays, this is a course by itself. Okay, how to do. Followed by fitness, beauty treatment. That's okay, and healthcare services. Okay, I'm only against personal grooming, but again, personal grooming, it's need of the heart. See, with the due respect. Okay, with due respect, I'm not finding fault. If something comes to your mind, I am not responsible for all that. With that caveat itself, I'll share. Sometimes today you will like a particular celebrity. Okay, my only recommendation is, you know the celebrity today, right? Just take a snap of the celebrity as he stands today and 10 years before. Okay, check both the photo, put both the photo together and see. Some difference you will understand. That is what personal grooming. Okay. Sir, what happens? They undergo a particular training, okay, in terms of everything, in terms of their way in which they have to look, the way in which they have to pose, the way in which they have to stand, how to focus the camera, from where to focus the camera, everything, every aspect of it. How to behave in the public, how to stand and speak, how to pose their hands, how to everything, color combination of dresses. Personal grooming means they will groom to the core. Okay, you can say, will it look in what to say, in politics also? 80% it works out also in politics. Personal grooming, people will be prepared for certain things. Okay, in any case, that's all different. But understand, there is a team of people. They only train people only on this, how to do things. If still some of you are all not convinced, visualize a film like Bahubali, where we have two important characters. A character by name called as Bahubali, both the elder, I mean the father and the son role, and another character by name your Bijal Dev. Now these two characters, Bijal Dev or Bahubali or whatever the way in which you understand from the regional language of the film, if they are not going to be in their muscular sizes, if they are going to be in their own regular body sizes, okay, do we think that we will get the connection to that film? Think about it. You will understand the importance of fitness, beauty treatment, and healthcare services. Each individual went a 10 crore rupee treatment to come and keep that muscular size for a few number of years. For a few years, I have been told more than 3.5 years, they maintain that muscularity. In fact, uh, to tone down, let me repeat, to tone down, it took another 6 months for them. So it's a span of about 4 years. They went up and they came up. Here and there, some muscularization happened through graphics also, CG also. In spite of it, they also became bulk in this process. They bulk, for which they took additional supplements, extra supplements, particular guidance, all this. Now look as a production house. You have to think from the production house perspective. From a production house perspective, that's an expense. And for a particular industry perspective, from Talwarkar perspective, again, Talwarkar is a very famous fitness studio. From Talwarkar's perspective, that is his business. Talwarkar is going to run this business of fitness services. And they also are fitness, consultant for some of the high-end films. So from a Talwarkar perspective, it's a supply of service on fitness. It could be individuals who come up with personal grooming. Again, beauty treatment, which all of us are familiar. Healthcare services. Sir, I thought healthcare is not taxable. Agreed, healthcare is not taxable. You can learn it from your exemption. But here we are talking of healthcare of cosmetic and plastic surgery. If I have to wear a particular glass, which would show me that I'm wearing such a thick glass, maybe if my power is plus 20, only I'll use such thick glass. Today that thick glass is gone. I'm not sure. Today glass comes with different differences. 10 or Y10, 15 itself comes as a sleek glass. Okay, it's only the cost. No, if it is going to be a thick glass, okay, those otherwise which is used by our grandfather's grandmother, that thick glass. As a normal human being, if I put that, it will be everything will be extra large. So I have to put a minus 10. Let me repeat, a minus 10 lens and put a plus 10 glass to come to a normal eye. Understand? I am artificially downsizing my visual and again artificially pushing my visual to an equal level to get that. I'm referring to a particular film where a particular cast will have a glass of the thick size. Just to embodiment that characterism. Now the question before here is, there was a recommendation went to him. Why can't you go for a cosmetic surgery where a lens, minus 10 lens will be given to you? That will be better. After once everything is over, we can remove that minus 10 lens. But unfortunately, this person not opted for it. Including that, it could be fitting lenses to anybody's eye. Apart from when it is going to be a disease or an illness, it's going to be, instead of using specs, people want to go for a laser treatment and this lenses and all. Yes, healthcare services. In case of all these services, place of supply will be location of the place where the services are performed. So, as an entry, when we look at it, what is charm in this entry, we will know. We have to look at this entry from a discussion. A Maharashtra-based artist who's the highest paid actor per day in India. This artist, known for all controversies in the Bollywood, something. Okay. known for all controversies in the Bollywood. Okay, that fellow who earns 65 lakhs rupees per day will go to a Goa-based hospital and do a transplant of hair for 1.28 crores. A hair transplant activity of 1.28 crores is the money that is involved in it, no doubt. A clear healthcare related services, of course, cosmetic activity leviable to GST. So many times we don't get that connector. We feel that healthcare, everything is accepted. No, preferably healthcare relating to cosmetic activities are all taxable, and Goa is famous for all this. Okay, Maharashtra itself is famous for all this. Goa in particular is famous for all this. Coming back here, moving from this discussion, getting into training and performance appraisal services. What do you mean by training and performance appraisal services? If any services, we'll do anything. After this entry, we will not take up this entry consciously. Admission to events. In case if people are admitted to events, various events, could be any kind of event that is going to be engaged, could be a sporting event, cultural event, or all the other events which are there. The place where the event is held, the place where the event is actually held, that would become place of supply. So coming back here, admission to cultural event, artistic event, sporting event. See, it's the whole idea of 500 rupees is collected and a person is admitted. 1,000 rupees is collected and a person is admitted. 5,000 rupees is collected and a person is admitted in case of admission to events. The place where the event is held, actually held, that would become place of supply. IPL starts from Saturday 19th, I believe. Okay. So when it's come to IPL, when it's going to be held in Dubai, tickets are all sold as a agreed place where the event is held, that would become place of supply. Very interesting to note. Only thing is, this section is not up because supplier of service and recipient of service should be in taxable. We have another section, but again, that section also will come out and say only one thing: the place where the event is held. Nothing going to change, but just be aware. To apply this section, supplier and recipient should be in taxable. Organizing of events we'll take later. Transportation of goods, transportation of passengers. Last but one, services on a particular list. I'm discussing in a particular order, consciously skipping the other order. In case of onboard conveyance, if a thali meal is served, sir, maybe the few services that I mentioned here we would have not experienced. Few Middle East based aircraft has spa services inside the aircraft. Few Middle East based aircraft has movie on demand, music on demand, Wi-Fi services. What do we mean by movie on demand? A few listed movies will be available. You have to buy a coupon, mention that coupon number, you can see that movie. Okay, inside the aircraft, which is a screen before you. Today, that practice is coming down because of the invention in the OTT platform, this, that, and all. But again, it's a practice still there. Followed by music on demand, movie on demand on all these services. Leave a aircraft, get into a vessel. A lot more services. When it comes to a vessel, lot more services are provided inside the vessel. All those services, the first scheduled point of departure, where it starts, first scheduled point of departure, that would become place of supply. Coming into advertisement services provided to government. In case of advertisement services provided to government, the place where the dissemination of knowledge happens, the revenue will be appropriated. Thus, the place where the dissemination of knowledge. If a government advertisement comes only in one state, we will not have a great challenge. But in 4 or 5 states, if a government want to advertise its advertisement, then in each state, how much dissemination happens? Each state shall be in the proportion to the amount attributable to the service provided by way of dissemination. How much knowledge goes to that state? How do I know, sir? If an advertisement is going to be a paper-based advertisement, how much paper which is sold in each state would be the basis for distribution. A little more detailing is required for advertisement services. On your closure end, I'm not pushing now because I have to consolidate some discussions here. Coming back here, generally place of supply would be applicable as per general situation. But when you can use general situation, if it is not covered by the specified services. In the specified services, we have discussed the list one. Specified services, you have two lists, list one, list two. Sir, where it is told, for our discussion, we will remember like that only. List one, list two. What is list one services? Now, what are all we referred, all are list one services. Immovable property based services, notified services, admission to event services, conveyance services, onboard conveyance services, and your services provided to government. These 5 services are list 1 services. List 1 services. The others are all list 2 services. Sir, why should I need to segregate it as list 1, list 2? Why I need to read like that? Is it not all are specified service? All are specified service. But list 1 and list 2 has a small variation. That variation is all the difference. You will check whether it is covered in list 1, whether it is covered in list 2. If it is not covered, then only we'll come to gender. Why I need to remember like that? There is a need that you have to remember like that because the provisions for list 1 and the provisions for list 2 are different. In list 2, there would be possibilities your answer might change based on the status of a recipient. In list 1, irrespective of recipient, your answer will remain constant. So those are the real learning. We have a lot more learning to top up on these discussions. All that we will do in our next session when we meet. So until then, signing off from you. Thank you all for an effective and patient listening. Any doubts? Yes, I will take it up. You can unmute yourself and discuss.